Hey everyone, Marsh from Consequence here. We're going to go over Echo of Neltharion. Just a quick caveat, this video is pre-nerf. The post-nerf fight is significantly easier. Night and day easier. However, the same aspects of the fight, it will be the same, except everything will be slightly easier, and we'll talk about like the big change when we get to it, and it will be in like the first 20 seconds. So, there's a few things going on here. It's a big tank fight, and it's a big range DPS fight. So the first thing you have here is you have your knock lines. All right, let's talk about them. Okay. So the general rule is you'll see a mark here. This marker, we're trying to break one section of the wall. Now you need to mark where that section is for you. This is what we did. And when your first few pulls, you might be breaking 2 sections or 3 sections by accident. You need to adjust. But we have a purple marker here, and the general way we do it is whenever the mechanic comes up here, rushing darkness on X player, that player is responsible for going to the wall, and the other 2 players are going to go to the outsides of the room because we do not want to break multiple walls, because every time you break a wall, it gives you a debuff. The debuff does more damage. It's just really bad. So they're going to break the wall here. Now the second mechanic is this bomb mechanics. Now you can see this map weak aura here. There is better ones out now, so I wouldn't just use this one. Shouts to Honolulu Guild. I think that's their weak aura that we used off of Wago, but I think they're better ones now that like literally copy and paste the map and make it like significantly easier than this like custom box. And these bombs need to go to specific spots, which we'll go through in a second. Now, the first big nerf is the bomb radius. This is a very easy formation, but later in the fight, there's going to be like 2 pixels to stand on. So this nerf in itself is absolutely huge for guilds progressing on this fight, because they won't just wipe to 1 bomb player being 2 seconds late. One thing to note is, and I'm gonna take away my video here. One thing to note is this, we called it a book, and we basically followed this to a T, and you can see that it's labeled, I wish I could zoom out a little, there we go. Label it 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4. Okay, so if you want to screenshot this, go ahead. This is what we did. So you can see here that this is for phase 1. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the first bomb set we just saw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the second. Again, we have Spellbop here. We'll talk about that soon. And so on, and so on. And we'll talk about this. We're going to come back to this later, but this is where things get a little strange. So you can see he didn't get a bomb. However, those players went to those spots. Now let's talk about the bombs itself. So if you can't see this, I can read it out for you. But this is the liquid weak aura, as I mentioned in the last video, that everyone is using. And you want to set up this list in a very specific way. So you can see, by looking at this image, 1 and 2 are really far. Really far. Really far. So you really want your mobile classes to be at the top of the list. Now, the way this works is, and we'll see it when he gets one, is the first player will, if they get targeted by a bomb, will always be number 1, no matter what, no questions asked. They will be number 1 since they're number 1 in the list. The second player can be number 1, or they can be number 2. They will be number 1 if the first player isn't selected. They could be number 2 if the first player is selected. So here we're trying to force these 1 and 2 bombs on really tanky classes, you know, and the top 3 having the highest mobility possible to get out to those spots. And then in the middle, you know, we have our less tanky DPS, and then at the bottom we have the priests, because they're really slow and they will have the shortest distance. Trying to get them on this 3, 4, or 5 is the goal. There is 5 potential bombs that can go out. The 5th bomb can go on a range, but it can also go on a melee. So let's play this, and I will explain in a second here. We'll just wait for the next one. So you'll see here that the tanks will drag the boss in this corner, and that's because this fissure is going to spawn, and this will expand. So we stack up in this darkness, and we move out. And again, no lust in P1. It's not a big deal. This is a wall that will come up, so if you get trapped, you're doomed. And again, rushing darkness target, going right on that green marker, breaks the wall. The other two are flying this way. Do not stand in their way, you'll get silenced. And now you can see here, I didn't talk about this last pull, or the last set, but this is the weak aura. So here, we got a little unlucky. It's going to be Warlock 1, the Baluster 2, the Devoker 3, Priest Healer 4, Priest Healer 5. So they're on 1-2 here, so they need to memorize what this is going to be. Granted, this is a pretty hard one because none of the really mobile classes got it, but we figured it out. We get the safe zone and explodes. We're good. Now, this wall's going to come up, but it's not the end of the world because the tank's going to re-break. The tanks need to break the walls to the new sections. And again, we have a 2-stack here, which is fine. And we're going to go through. So, that's going to repeat. This wall's going to come up, and the same thing's going to happen. Notice we have an X marker here. So we're waiting for the knock lines to come. Alright, Warlock gets it. He stands on X. The other two guys are out here. He breaks. And now, this is really good RNG. We have mobile class Mage 1, other Mage 2, Hunter 3, Baluster 4, Resto Shaman 5. You're not going to get much better than that, so this is really, really good RNG. So for him, he's going to go 3, so he knows he needs to go up here, which he does. Perfect. And he's using the Hunter's thing to see through the wall. But he's good. The tanks break through the wall, and the tanks again are going to drag in the corner for Fissure. And we move on. So we go through, and now we get into this last quadrant. I actually didn't talk about this. So on the second set here, 1-2, we spell bop this because there's fire creeping in. So the 5th target, we spell bop, he stands in the fire to give the maximum room possible. Maybe with the nerfs this isn't required anymore, but I didn't see it on the screen, so that's why I didn't notice, but that's just an FYI. Now, this rushing darkness, we don't want to break a wall because we know the boss is going to phase soon. So these do not break, and now these bomb targets go out. Now, you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to stack these because there isn't enough room in this quadrant, and you can't break and run over here. So you need to make sure they're stacked. Now you can see in the note, actually, I think they took it out of the note for room. But we have assigned externals on targets here. So these two guys, so you can see it's a Hunter and a Warlock. He's going to pop his big personal, and he's probably going to pop Turtle. Yep. So they're good. And our assumption was that the 1 and 2 players were always going to be good, and the 3 player is always safe because they're solo, and the 4 and 5 player, 3, 4, 5, are always going to be in danger. So you'll see this Dev Evoker and Shadow Priest. So what's going to happen is 2 bops are going to go out on those 2 players, and that's how they're going to live. Granted, the Shadow Priest can disperse, but we just were very, very consistent with the bops. Every single time we would bop, our Rep Paladin would basically tell our Prop Paladin who to bop, and then he would bop the other person. So, like, I don't know what the exact call was, but the call would be like, I don't know, I bop the Dev Evoker, or bop Dev Evoker, and then they would bop the Shadow Priest. And that's how we did it. Perfect. Alright, now we're pushing the boss to 60%. And there's some little tricks here you can do to help you get a really good push into the last phase. It's going to matter less and less with gear. However, we bring him in this corner, and we want this knock lines to cast before we push him under 60. So you'll see here we're hovering right above 60 cast, and then we're pushing. So he's going to finish his cast, queue up the bombs, and then he'll push. So we get an extra 2% on him, basically for free. That is the goal. So now, stage 2, or phase 2, is probably the hardest part of the whole fight, for multiple reasons. I think it's way easier after the nerfs, but you get the corruption mechanic just like you get in Heroic here. You really cannot cleave these players down. Let these players break out the ad, because these ads have a DPS check. Everyone needs to switch to these ads, and we need to absolutely blast them. Again, now we're looking at the P2. If you guys want to screenshot this, you can. I think, yeah, this is, I'll zoom out one more. You guys can screenshot this if you can. But this is our general format. So you'll see here, you have the first ad, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's look at this. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But like, look at the room here, right? So like, this is what I'm talking about. This nerf, this would be here, this would be here. You'd have so much room, and this is how a bunch of guilds bullied the boss down extremely quickly. But like, we're working with like 3 pixels, and then we're good to go. I think they also fixed the wall breaks, but I'll talk about that. You won't notice that as much as we did. So now these Rushing Darknesses never break walls. They go into the wall, and we get another set. Oops. We get another set, and this is just going to be the same set here. We just do this twice. Actually, yeah, we just do this twice. So this is kind of misleading. But anyway, the tank here, this tank mechanic's the same. He's going to put a line on the tank. He's going to rip the wall through, and ideally you only get 2 stacks. And they kind of fix this mechanic. Now, this is where guilds start to struggle right here. It's way easier with the nerf, as I said, but we'll talk about it. So the tank breaks the wall. 3 players get corrupted. This is 2 melee and a range. And we have bombs. So let's play it. These guys need to break the ad. You need to be telling your raid, do not cleave, do not cleave, do not cleave. Like, these guys can die so fast. Because, especially if a healer gets it. So let's see this. So this is a really, really bad RNG overlap. Because look, you can see no of the top players got 1. So now a player who's probably only got 1 this situation 1 or 2 times has to do it right. But it's Bastard 1, Devoker 2, Resto Shaman 3, Holy Priest 4, Melee DPS 5. And I didn't mention that in the first phase, but if you only see 4 here, the melee will always be 5. So it's not worth really showing that, because you can just assume that they're 5 and it just clutters the screen. So the plan here is to, where is it? Do this formation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is labeled 2, 2. So this one target will stay behind and then gateway forward. 2, 3, 4, 5 can gateway forward and spread, or this run if they're fast enough. The reason you need a gateway here is because this one target will not be able to make it. If they just blow up the bomb and run, they're not making it. Maybe with the nerfs they can now, because they can stand closer, but it's just way safer the gateway. But you'll see here, they're going to blow up. The walls are already coming up, and you can see this guy gatewaying in. And we're good. So we're killing this ad. And we have the tank line here. So tank is breaking. And then we're going to have, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this formation right here. So you see here, he gets number 3. So he's in the 3 spot. And we're going to need to finish this ad off before the next set of bombs, because this next set of bombs we're going through. So now you can see this image. It's kind of covered. He's just kind of memorized at this point. But you can see this image coming up. Alright? So this image here, we're send 1 and 2 through, 3, 4, 5. Now at the nerfs, you might be able to fit another guy in here. There might be another strategy. But I'm just saying this is what we did. So you're going to see here, we kill, kill, kill. These guys are going through. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's also knock lines during this phase. With the nerfs, this shouldn't be as much of a problem, but the knock lines need to like thread a needle here between these 2 bombs. Everyone else gets safe, goes through. Corruption comes out. And we're on a DPS check on this ad. And if you can get the boss to 35% health, that's a massive bonus, which is why that P1 push helps a lot. So let's talk about this. What we did, and this was like a strategy that developed after the World First race, is we started stacking 1 and 2 together in the corner. I think the World First guys did something like this, but we realized, and now it's even more easy now because of the nerfs, that you can just stack 1 and 2 together. So we see 1 and 2 stacked here. That's Turtle Ice Block. Easy. We're chilling. Actually, he didn't even turtle. I think he actually pulled an external. But it doesn't matter. Because we didn't split up the... we didn't do 1, 2, and 4, 5 stacked. We're still able to external the same thing with the bops. So again, a Rep Paladin would be like, you know, bop X player, and then he would bop the other player. So we're trying to kill this ad while getting the boss to 35%. We have some time, and we have bombs. Again, we're positioning here because this is just the safest spot to play. So yep. Again, like, see how much room we have to work with? Like, you know, you'll have, like, a bunch of room to work with. But we'll stand here. The boss will be pushing to 35 naturally. We're going to kill the ad. And we need to beat this bomb's 8. If these blow up, that's a wipe. So we push. And we get to the last phase. Now let's talk about the portals. The last phase is the easiest. You're going to rip Lust. I think we do it on second ads. And that's just for timings, but we'll see it here. So you have this portal weak aura here. Now you can see how the tanks are taking the boss here. Depending on where you break is where the portals spawn. So we use the Big Dumb Guild portals. Other guilds just use like screenshots. Other guilds use other weak auras. So do whatever works for you. But we get portals here. These ads spawn, and you can see that he's number 16. So everyone's saving their cooldowns. Yeah, we're second ads because it's 2 minutes. So he's fighting number 16. He sees himself on the map. He's going to walk in last second. He walks in. He's chilling. Gone. So now we lost with 2 minutes. Lost pot, go. This is right at the 6-minute mark. And we're absolutely blasting. MD and Trick's really good here. Get this off. And again, like, where the tanks spawn, or you need to, like, whatever strat you're using, you need to make sure, like, the tanks know where to drag the boss to spawn the portals in the right direction. Very critical. So you see he's number 16 again. So right now I'm saying find your portal, find your portal. He knows where it is. It's back here. Yep. So he's in it. He's good. We have a res. We get him up. And if you can get past the second one, again, like, it gets very easy. MD and Tricks come in. AoE is really good here, obviously, because these ads absolutely crank your tanks. Like, these just destroy them. Again, you have Big Bang coming. Alright, where's my portal? Where's my portal? He's going to find it right here. But, okay, he sees someone's... Who is that? He sees someone in here, so he needs to adjust. So this is an incorrect spot, or the weak aura was messed up. But I guess they just swapped. It's fine. It doesn't matter. And we just kill the boss from here. Now, a lot of groups use immunities if they have them up on the second explosion. You can survive with the immunity, and it allows more portals to stay up, just in case you get to this point and need extra portals to live. So we keep going. Knock lines. Again, like, I didn't talk about these, but never silence people. Like, if you're in the middle of these, it's going to be a really bad time. And now I'm just saying, okay, kite the boss, because again, like, he cannot, these things touch him, he's just going to fall over, without much healing. And then right here, like, you need to make a call. Like, I just said step in something. It might have been better just to have people just keep hitting the boss. And we get a clutch kill, with the rogue evading and, like, the, 2 more people alive. So that's the fight. It won't be as scuffed as this because some of your transitions will be a little easier. But again, a big weak aura boss. Use liquid pack. Use a map. Make things easier. Healing CDs. Make sure you use a guild with similar cooldowns than you. Very important. And plan out your externals for the doubles as well as the last phase, if needed, on your tanks. Other than that, best of luck on your kill. Detailed Sark guide coming next, and then Zeskarn video later this week. Best of luck on your prog. Peace out.